So hopefully you ended up with something like the following. First of all, as I left off, your change in producer surplus or profit is you have lost B. Before you had B and E, now you just have E. How about for society? Well, consumers have gained B, C, and D. Producers as a whole, this is you as an individual. You have lost B, but the new entrant who previously was probably making zero economic profit is now making positive economic profit. And so they have gained F and H. So for producers as a group, it's unclear. Some people within the group have gained, some have lost. Now this is one of the nice things about these tools. We can start disaggregating. You saw this when I did this with slavery, when I've done it with a few other things. It's possible to still, right, we have our aggregate supply schedule and we can now start to say things about individual groups. But the key here is for us as a society, allowing entry is a good thing. It makes us as a society better off. And again, we could get more formal. We could have line equations here. We could do a bunch of fancy looking stuff, but I think it wouldn't change our answer much. So, allowing entry and having people imitate you, copy your big sign over your head, which I had said was a good thing for society, turns out to be a good thing for society, which is always nice when our stories work out. So clearly from your point of view, and clearly from the point of view of all suppliers in the market, because here's another thing to think about. Let's say, well, we can come back to this. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So we'll skip that for now, but we'll come back here to something else. So hopefully it makes sense to you that it would be good for you if you could prevent other people from entering, but it would be bad for society. It would be bad for MSUB. So then the question would be, why would the chancellor ever give you the right to destroy value for people at MSUB? What would he do? Why would he ever do this? Well, again, if you go back all the way back to maybe the second or third day of class, I think it was second day of class. How does the chancellor choose? Well, the chancellor is going to choose according to MSUB's marginal benefit and marginal cost? Nope. He, just like all other human beings, is going to choose according to his expected marginal benefit and his expected marginal cost. So why would he end up giving you the right? Why might the benefit outweigh the cost? Well, as we already mentioned, maybe you could just bribe him, right? But I'm pretty sure the chancellor, he does care about the university. And if you were to walk up and say, here, would you give me the monopoly for $125? I don't think, it's not just that $125 wouldn't be enough. I think he would be actually offended that you were offering to pay him. So I don't think that's the reason. I mean, that might be it. You could try it. You could say, look, I've got this business. I'd like the monopoly. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be better off. That's a reason to do it. And that might be compelling. Part of the question is that we have to figure out what information, right? Because we can view information as driving people's expectations here. And so we need to know who's going to be giving him this information. Are you going to, for $125, would you schedule an hour appointment and meet with the chancellor? I would, for $125. So you are definitely, so who's going to be giving info? You are definitely going to be giving him the info. Who else is going to be giving the info? So the incumbent in the market is definitely going to be going to his office, and now you may not pay money, but do you think you would spend $125 worth of your time? I certainly would. Or something marginally less than that. So the incumbent is definitely going to be sitting in his lobby. Now, when you get in there, you could say, you know what, I just want to make a buttload of money. But again, I don't think that's going to be overly compelling. What could you do instead? What types of stories could you say? Well, usually what you would say isn't, could be, right? In some jurisdictions, in some cases, you might have a chancellor who says, screw it. But generally, you probably are going to want to say things like, you know what? We need to ensure that the quality of the guides for our students is good. We need to ensure that our students are protected. We need to avoid confusion over who is a quality information provider. These are usually the types of arguments you might make, and then you could also say, and I'm going to make a butt ton of money. So that's something. I'm one of your constituents. I'm a student here. You should clearly care about me because I'm a student. I'm going to be making some money out of this. That's true. That's a good thing. But along the way, you can look at me. You know me. I took the time to come see you. I really care about my fellow students. We need to ensure the quality. We need to ensure that students are protected. Now, do you have to even believe any of these? No. But you would almost certainly stand a better chance of getting the monopoly or the barriers to entry, the barriers to people copying you, if you made these arguments, assuming the chancellor's who I think he is, right? In some environments, a politician might say, yeah, quality and protected. No. Tell me more about this. How much are you getting? I want part of it. Fortunately, in this country, generally speaking, this is not something that politicians or bureaucrats or policemen or women ask for side payments. In other parts of the world, it absolutely is. So you're going to be in there and you're going to be making arguments about quality and protection. Do students have an incentive to lobby? The other students, not you. Well, if you think about it, so students, before we get to the students, let's look at the competitors. Maybe the people who are going to enter if there's no barrier. Well, what's their profit going to be if they enter? In fairly short order, their profit is going to go towards zero. They're not going to be upset about this. I mean, they're going to wish that they could have made some positive economic profit, but they're not going to be entirely upset about this. So are they going to spend time and energy to go make profit, to gain access to a market where their profit is going to end up being zero? I don't think so. Again, if they were some of the first movers, maybe, but they're probably pretty busy doing the other thing that they're doing. So they're not going to be there. You're going to definitely show up. These people are not. How about the students now? So students as a whole, as I showed, you can go back to that graph earlier, students as a whole are going to be better off, and better off to a larger extent than you are going to be hurt. They're getting B and some other stuff, whatever that was, right? So surely they would be willing, maybe I'll draw it back up here in small, we'll see if you can even see this. Basically, they gain all of this, you just lose this. So they should be willing to pay more than you. They should be willing to give up more time, energy, and resources than you, in which case this works out, right? You go in and you say, we should protect the students and we need to make sure about the quality, and then at the same time all the other students are in there saying, no, screw that. We want competition. I want lots of other people in here. I'm going to save money. We're going to be better off. We're going to have more guides at a lower price. Except for, no, that would be nice if that was the way it worked. But here was the thing. Maybe, let's say that the price with entry falls from $3 to $2.50. Now this is entirely possible. In other words, all students would save 50 cents. Are you going to even walk across campus for 50 cents? If I said to you, you walk over to McMullen and come back, and I'll give you 50 cents, I think most of you'd say, screw you. I have better things to do. It's not worth my time, right? And so as individuals, the group as a whole would be better off if they went and told the chancellor, but who chooses? Not groups. Individuals choose. Only individuals choose. This, by the way, is part of why we're having such a hard time effectively socially distancing, because we as a society will be better off if everybody does this. But if everybody else does this, and I go for motorcycle rides and go run around the grocery store and whatever, I'm still protected from the disease, and I get all the goodies of not having to be stuck in my house. Same thing here. It's what we call a collective action problem. So in this instance, individuals, the students, are going to choose according to their expected marginal benefit and expected marginal cost. And so for 50 cents, it's not even going to be worth it, even though in aggregate, this 50 cents per student aggregates up to more than the $125 in profit for you. So, would you go over there and talk to the chancellor for $125? Absolutely. Would you do it for 50 cents? I very much doubt it. And so this brings us to one of the tendencies of government. We think about this. Who's going to show up just based on the information? Who's showing up? Not the students and not the competitors. It's going to be the incumbents who are showing up and providing information. And they're going to say, look, we care about students, we care about society, we care about consumers. So this brings us to one of the tendencies of government. Is to concentrate the benefits of policy and to spread the costs out around society. If you want to figure out policies that are almost certain to fail, they would be ones that concentrate the cost in a small group and spread the benefits out. But here what we have is a situation where if the benefits are concentrated, this concentrated group is going to have an incentive to go over and talk to the chancellor. Whereas these people for whom the costs end up being larger than these benefits in aggregate, on an individual level, they say, it's not worth it to me. Now, obviously, you could think this is a slightly silly example, but it's really not that odd. You think about many other cases, whether it is, think about accounting. Should we restrict entry into the accounting profession? Right now in the state of Montana, not only do you need to take accounting classes, you need to